you could see what I see, our community and unity, no frustration from brutality, with our black nation a reality.
This is my perspective, it's my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, it's my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, it's my perspective, my perspective, it's my perspective.
And welcome to another episode of the New African Perspective. Hey y'all, on my end, it didn't show. It showed that the intro was playing, but it didn't show actually the intro playing. Was the intro playing? Did y'all see it?
Just now it played. Like initially, it didn't play, but then it played. So
Okay, all right. I was just trying to see because it didn't play at all on my phone. I got it kind of different setup right now, but this is the New African Perspective, the show that is dedicated to the liberation of New African people. I'm your host, Brother Prophecy, and riding with me as always, I got powerful, strong sisters, strong queens, strong goddesses, and they are none other than the President and Vice President of the Republic of New Africa, and they are
Mama Ayo, free the land.
Yes, and we are a part of something called the New African Independence Movement. And here we advocate and struggle for land, independence, self-determination, reparations, and we're trying to create an economic system that's not about the exploitation of everybody, but trying to get everybody all of the resources and the needs, the things that we need to survive and thrive and become the best versions of ourselves. But it's been a minute, we've been kind of taking a pause for the cause to make sure that business and life is handled. But we are back. How y'all queens been doing? How y'all been doing?
I mean, we're here. We well, this journey we call life it's about all the lessons that you learn on and all the muscle that's built on the journey. That's how you become wise. So let's just say the road is interesting.
Yeah.
We are here and we are well. So that's how I'm gonna answer that.
I concur because when we decide to claim ourselves, to define ourselves, to name ourselves, and to decide that hey, we are giving ourselves the name of New African Conscious Citizen Workers, does not mean magically life is so much more different, because it is not. We face the same problems, the same issues, life lessons. Yet we try to, as we say, change is constant, and try to look at it from an objective standpoint, even in the midst of some deep, what we call personal and subjective realities, and just try to navigate through, try to, as Sister Sa says, get a little bit wiser, a little bit more discerning, and to give gratitude that we're still here. To be a part of the New African Independence Movement, to still stand firm on our square, circle, and triangle to the best of our abilities as we navigate through personal injury, growth, everything. So, yeah, Brother Prophecy, it's been what we call a wild summer. And yet, here we are, still here, in Black August. And I have much gratitude.
Gotcha. Hey, do anybody else hear like the intro coming in and out, or is this just something on my end?
I don't hear it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. As long as y'all not hearing it, then it's cool. Okay, just something going on over here. So we've been going over this document, for like the last so many 7 weeks, I can believe. We're up to week number 7. It is the aims of the revolution, is which is a part of our Constitution, and we're up to number 7. Let me see if I can pull it up here, because y'all know these new African documents are so on point with the wealth of knowledge and information. Um, and here it is. It says, goal number 7: to build an independent black, I'm sorry, to build a black independent nation where no set or religious creed subverts or impedes the building of the new society, the new state government, or the achievements of the aim.
I didn't hear that last part, Brother Prophet.
I think his Brother Prophet, are you talking?
I'm not sure.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes. There you
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, all right. I'm gonna have to switch it up a little bit. So I'm gonna read that goal of the revolution again. It says to build a black independent nation where no set or religious creed subverts or impedes the building of the new African society, the new state. With the new state government, or achieve the our achievement of the aims of the revolution and set forth in this declaration. I'm sorry, I had a couple of things going with me while I was trying to read that. But what do y'all think about this particular goal of the revolution?
I think that particular goal of the revolution is it's really heavy on keeping our eye on,
You can't
you
hear
know,
you, Saul.
is the host that's muted.
There you go.
You can hear me? Oh, I was saying this particular is it's heavy on making sure that we stay zeroed in and focus on what the end goal is. Totally focus on what the end goal is, to build this state, this nation state, independent nation state. That is the ultimate end goal, and everything that comes with that. So honestly speaking, any religious sect, none of that, all the different bickering that we see amongst religion in our society today, in our communities today, in right? It's not even in alignment with our Declaration of Independence. It's not even in alignment. But honestly, truthfully, you're arguing over different cultural perspectives of the ways in which a particular culture has decided and traditionally explained universal law, universal law, universal order, um, um, principles that we are to live by, if we are to live in alignment, in harmony with nature, right? As the caretakers of the planet, fulfilling our birthright. That's what this is about. You know what I'm saying? So it's really heavy zeroing in, focusing in on all religions, all of them have the end goal of building God's kingdom, of being a righteous earth, living specific laws so that you can continue to be blessed, right? So that's just the ebb and flow. Our birthright is abundance. So that's just being specific, because we know what we witness in our societies. We witness it every single day. brothers and sisters arguing on religion, you know, and it's really arguing over language because all the religions, they don't do it the same exact way. They're still explaining the same exact principles and the same exact laws to live. I mean, you know, in their various creative ways. So, you know, it's really really moot. So I'm happy they even bring that up in our aims because that's what we deal with today.
Dig that, definitely. Mama Ayo, did you want to chime in on this particular aim of the revolution?
Just thank you. Just briefly, I definitely agree with what President Sa says. And in addition to what she's speaking about, I want to just focus on that small little phrase that says, you have accepted, you agree with, you have bound yourself to an independent Black nation. So I think that is probably the biggest challenge today in real time is, all right, if we call ourselves New African and we want to be independent, what does that thought process look like? What is our love language to one another in building an independent Black institution? What does it look like to put institutions on the ground for an independent Black nation? Are you planning on, are we as the Republic of New Africa, provisional government and all of its citizenry, are we pooling our taxes to make sure that these institutions become solidified and forever put on the land? Are we making sure that our education, our the ways in which we uh, decide that we want to acknowledge birth, death, marriage, disillusion, problems or conflicts with one another? Because remember, if we're saying we want to be an independent Black nation, and it's something that the world has not seen before, we shouldn't be seeing ourselves as the Black version or the new African version of capitalism, imperialism, white supremacy, and racism. So I think the challenge for us is that independence is not really embedded in our DNA yet. That's our mission. It is not in, you know how you build that muscle memory that most sports people talk about. Black independent nation is not, it's that's not on every
Mhm.
tongue and in every conversation yet. So that is our task as New African leadership, New African study cells, New African militias, an independent Black nation. And with that, I yield.
Yes, for me, it's so we are literally at war on every single level, on every single level. So when we say we want to liberate ourselves, we have to liberate ourselves in all these different parts and areas in our work, in our life, you know. And it's really literally a cleanse, a part that requires self work. Like I don't, just like Mama Ayo just said, it's like it's the us building a Black nation that's not on everybody's minds for real, for real. Because you literally have to change. You got to change your whole way of life, your whole way of being, the way we talk to one another, the way that we eat, the way that we deal in society, the way that we build and organize amongst our family, amongst our community. Like it all shift and change the way that we personally maneuver. You know, that's not necessarily the easiest thing. No, habits are difficult to break. You know, we have to break certain addictions, things that we are addicted to that are not beneficial to ourselves, our families, the nation, the community. It's just not beneficial. We have to break those habits, and that takes being very honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Saying that takes being very honest. You know, and these are things like you, how the ancients say, know thyself. This is literally a journey of self,
Yeah.
mastering self, you know, because yes, we would be considered masters if we liberate ourselves from the conditions that we put ourselves in. But we can't remain the same and think that that's going to shift and change out of osmosis. That is not our reality. So we need to take full responsibility and hold ourselves accountable for that which is not taking place. That has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. It's all our at this point. At this point. Because we got the information. We already know what's been done to us. We already know we know these things. Now it's on us. How do we want to organize? How do we need to organize ourselves so that we can be a better, optimal human new African in the village? So you won't totally suck. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the real talk. Okay. So I yield back.
Yeah, definitely agree with both of you. I think one of the important aspects of this particular aim of the revolution, when it basically says that whatever you got going on, whatever it is that you believe in, or whatever, anything, first and foremost, you're a new African, you're Black, whatever it is, melanated person that we want to call ourselves. We are that first. And above that, the establishment of our nation that is paramount over everything else. If this is about what we're trying to do, is about securing not only our present, but our future. For generations and generations, we're trying to bring about a real solution to the problems that we have been facing in the battles in which we have been engaging in for the last 400 centuries. And back to what you said earlier, Sa, about when you look at all of the different arguments and divisions between religions that we deal with, we're really just arguing over individuals' interpretation of universal law. And most of the things that you actually argue about not necessarily have to do with the universal law part. It has to do with things that people put into religions over the time that fit their particular culture, their particular situation. You arguing over, well, my man is Jesus, my guy is Muhammad, who all of these other things, and you're not even really arguing over the message, because the message we pretty much agree about, so it really puts in perspective what we need to be focused on, because a lot of times we get wrapped up into things that don't really make any difference. We're just emotionally attached to something, and we want our emotional attachment to be paramount, and we feel offended if someone else's emotional attachment is above ours. Well, we basically saying, the only thing that we are really focused on is the establishment of our nation. We're not preventing you from doing anything, personally, but your personal belief or your personal, system, ideology, whatever it is, we don't put that above the establishment of our independent nation, which is going to secure our future. And I'm a yield on that. But what we got on tap for the show today?
Well, this is the topic of the most amazing month, the month of August, Black August. So we're gonna discuss the important significance of Black, what that means for us in the new African independence. Then, of course, because it's Black August, we're gonna go ahead and honor George Jackson and our Black Power. And go over one of his books in the Cadre Corner.
I think.
Which one?
Is it Blood in My Eyes?
Blood in My Eye. Okay, very good. So that's what we'll be discussing in the Cadre Corner. Yeah, what is in the news? I'm pretty sure it's something in the news.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot that's been going on, especially since we haven't been on the air for a while. And since we usually always start with something terrible happening to our people, somebody got shot, exploited, destroyed, I figured let's just change it up just a little bit. Let's change the energy up just a little bit, because it's actually a video that like everybody and their mama been talking about. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing real heavy, nothing real deep, no deep revelation, but I figure, you know what, let's talk about it too. So I think it was August the 5th in Montgomery, Alabama, on one of the ports. There was a group of white people in a boat, and they were docked in a spot that was reserved for this boat. It's called the Harriet II, I believe. I don't know if it's named after Harriet Tubman or not, but it's called the Harriet II. So this black dock worker came to these individuals and asked them to move so the space that they were taking up could be occupied by the people who had reserved it. Of course, you know, I don't know if they're doing this whole white privilege things or whatever, but they refused, and a confrontation started, and they began to jump on this black dude. All of them jump on him. Well, the black people down in Montgomery actually responded appropriately, because before you know it, I don't know if they were part of the ship or whatever, but they all came to this brother's rescue. You even saw one brother jump in the water, swim across, and jump out of the deck to help. And ultimately, they beat the hell out of these white folks. You know, it's a saying. It's a saying in our community. You know, when people in a confrontation say, "You're gonna F around and find out." Well, they F'd around and found out that day. So I'm gonna go to that video. You know, I'm gonna try to show some of it. I'm not gonna show the whole thing, I don't think.
Okay.
That boy swimming his ass over there. God damn! That boy finna help that boy. Get up there, young boy. Get up there, young boy. Get up there, young boy. The swung on and the jumped on this black man, baby. The crew member that jumped off the Marriott, baby. They whooping ass, baby. Now come up out that boat, baby. They ready to move down. They ready to move down. You ready to run? Yeah. What's up? I was talking a minute ago. Yeah. Woo! They scared. Look at them. They scared. Woo! Beat their ass. Woo! Oh my God. Woo! That's what you get. Oh, tie ass up. Ooh, she whooping her ass. She finna put her in the water. Tie ass up.
All right. That's just a little bit of the video that got everybody kind of talking. As y'all see, they basically jumped on this brother, and hey, responded. What y'all think about that?
Your voice is very low.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Can y'all hear me now?
I can hear you. Can y'all hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Finally, I enjoyed that. Personally, I enjoyed it. So that's what I'm talking about. That's how we got to respond. Okay. That was a good response. Like, what? We here and now. You know, the diligence of responding. I enjoyed seeing that. You know, that was not no response. I'm about to swim across this water for the proper response. I enjoyed it. That's all I can say.
What about you, Mama Ayo? What did you
I just felt like it was divine reciprocity. You're over there beating on somebody. There's a group of you, and that's typically what we call that mentality where I know I can't beat you individually, but a group of us we can get you, and that's typically how white people that's how they fight. And unfortunately, we've taken up that particular custom, but one on one, most of the time you can't. You there's nothing you can do. So he had his reinforcements come in and help him out once they saw, oh, this ain't right. This ain't right. And I wish that would happen in our community when there's black on black violence, where you see mob beating on somebody and everybody's just standing around watching, So for me, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, the brother needed defending, but take that same mentality and utilize it in unjust situations within our own community. So with that, I yield.
Definitely, and I definitely agree with both of y'all. Just some interesting history about that particular area in which it happened. That port was once upon a time a slave auction block, so it kind of has some like history within that particular area that all of that happened. This was a place where our ancestors were sold into slavery, and you can still have that white supremacist mentality. You still see it even with the individuals, because the brother didn't tell them to do anything incorrect. He just told them, like, this right here is reserved for this, Harriet, this showboat, this riverboat, and y'all are blocking it. Could y'all move, please? And they wasn't going. I guess they was like, how dare this nigger tell me what to do? And so, yeah, there is some history with that. We got a couple of comments on this. I'm bad with names. So could you pronounce that name? Could one of y'all pronounce that name? Because I don't want to mess it up. I know I'm about to.
Oh, Ifayemi in Koyo, sister, Mama Nkoyo.
Okay, all right. She says, "Free the land that fed my soul." He threw that hat up, baby. That young baby did that. Yeah, that brother, man. So anybody who feed into the stereotype that black people can't swim, okay, we got proof that that's wrong. Because that brother swam from the boat to the dock, raised himself up, which take a lot of strength to do, and then commenced the whooping tail. Brother Obafemi, free the land. How you doing? Good.
Free the land.
Good to see you. Good to see you. He said still grinning behind this. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like one of them things that just kind of brighten up your day. Yeah, so that was cool. That was fun. So I figured, might as well change it up. Even if we're just doing it momentarily. Get a fun video. But it is something else that's not so fun that we do have to address. Actually, a lot of stuff that's not so fun, but we don't have time to get into everything. But a few weeks ago in Florida, they're continuing to pass laws that attack our history. We all already know that they've passed laws that basically ban us telling our history and ban anything that would offend or make white people feel bad. We can't teach it, which is basically all of white history. Well, if you are any kind of moral human being, it should make you feel bad. But now they created a law which made it mandatory to teach students that there were some beneficial effects of slavery. Black people gained a benefit from being enslaved, meaning that there were like certain skills and things we learned as a result of being under this terrible, inhumane system of slavery where we lost damn near everything. But according to them, they got to teach our children that it was beneficial to us. I guess
from their perspective, we were just in Africa, didn't even know how to walk up straight, didn't even have an opposable thumb, I guess. And then we got into slavery and evolved into real human beings like white folks or whatever it is they believe. But yeah, so they trying to teach us that slavery was beneficial to us. So anybody got any comment, respond to this?
I got some questions. So how are they teaching that? Like, what are they saying? Like, what is backing that up? What's their
That's a great question. That is a great question because I haven't really seen any concrete scientific evidence, historical evidence that would back up that we actually gain. Even their claim that we gain skills from being under this system of slave, because people in Africa already had skills. That's one reason why they wanted to bring us here to build a nation for them, because we was building nations for ourselves for millenniums. So yeah, I don't know. It's just we understand the laws of nature, and nothing gives up its life willingly. And how I see things is we're in an era where really this whole society, this whole system is crumbling. And whenever something is kind of on its last leg, the most dangerous animal is an animal that is cornered and about to ain't got nothing else to live for. You either finna die, so I'm gonna fight furious. So when I see a lot of these attacks by white supremacy, it's because their system is really threatened, because we're in a position to really strike a blow at it. You know what I'm saying? We really at the prime opportunity to go at that system. They recognize this, even though I don't think a lot of us recognize it. They recognize it and they see it, and that's why they really throwing all the haymakers that they possibly can, because they're desperate. And you're gonna continue to see a lot of this blatant white supremacy right in our face. That's my estimation of it. But the thing is, we have to make sure that we intensify, we continue the pressure, and we continue the building of our own nation, because the time is now for us to seize the moment. Like the book, Seize the Time. We have to seize the time. But
just to add really quickly, they really are, like you said, that's still one of the tools or weapons, I will say, that they have is the education system.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our children are still in the education system, because really and truly, specifically with the information age right now, what's going on in our society on very intricate levels is at the fingertips.
Yep.
Like, it's people that are in all levels of society that are talking about how corrupt this particular system is. Then that's the reality. The weapon they do have is that education system, for sure, because our children are there. So if they're gonna use whatever they have high I guess probability of making an impact, you know what I'm saying? That's the education system. That's still food.
Mm-hmm.
That education system, we already know what happens to our black boys, with specifically our black boys in the education system. You understand what I'm saying? Make sure that they get on some type of medication,
Yep.
some type of, it's just the perfect tool, perfect weapon that is still viable, because our children, most of us have not made that decision to make sure our children don't go up in these particular at this system's education system that only perpetuates the power that the system has over us, because that is where the conditioning takes place. You're being conditioned to sustain this right. You're being conditioned, in every way, every single way. So, that makes sense. That's what would be done.
Yeah, definitely. Mama Ayo, you got anything you want to add?
Just the fact that all of us know that there used to be a book called Lies, Lies, and Super Lies. We are in this particular paradigm where the super lies are rampant upon the earth. As people learn more and more truth, super lies have to be superimposed. And if you're not or you're not open to kind of making sure that you know a little bit about who you are and what you are, and you have a lot of people that's going to buy that particular mindset without and actually being socially manipulated to believe that yes, these horrible crimes against humanity were done to your people, to people who came from Africa and the indigenous. And yet, by doing these crimes against humanity, they were beneficial to you. That goes against all law. Those are major contradictions. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. All of the things that were done to a people, our people, us. You're saying it was okay. It's all right. You are allowed to do that. And you talk about the conventions against crime, the Indigenous Peoples Declaration. So all of those things, we are to be led to believe that they're okay. That we just suck it up. We're always going to be those people who have highly melanated super skills, magical powers, and yet uh, the only thing that we can say is that slavery was good for you. Your total dehumanization, because that was a total dehumanization of a people, was okay. And we're sitting here as a race, as a conglomeration of African blood, indigenous blood, and everything else in between. And we're saying, yeah, we're going to take that. It's okay. We believe that. It did do some good because after all, we're in the land of the home of the free, the home of the brave, and the land of the free, or whatever they want to call it. Really? Are we really serious? And yet our people are being socially manipulated. Our people have gone back to school in Florida. They have not kept our children have not been kept out of school because they disagree with the law. If this is a land where the people determine, where is the stand up for the parents and the guardians to say we don't believe that? Because in my mind, 50, 60, 70% of the public school system looks like people who look like us and have teachers who look like us. And yet today is the day that it's business as usual. Education goes on. Education is fine because we're going to send our children to school because of whatever reason. As my daughter says, make it make sense. Florida is a test case. If Florida gets away with that, it's going to sweep the country, particularly the Republican-led states and other educational systems, because everything is a test of how this is going to be accepted by the parents, teachers, at various sectors of society. And if everybody just grumbles a minute or two and blah, 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 and they say, give it a month and everything will be back as usual. And our children will be miseducated even more because you and I know as new Africans, there's a very small percentage that is going to buttress what is being embedded into their mindsets in their homes. And that's not much. Here we are, critical times. Critical moments. What we finna do? It's all about, remember we went back to the aims of the revolution? If we don't believe that we're supposed to be independent and we have the right to be independent and there's a justness in our cause and in our calling, we're going to have another 500 years of more of this particular mindset until soon it's just going to be a memory somewhere. A memory. This is the way it's always supposed to be. You're all Black people, new African people, melanated people, indigenous people. We're put on this earth to do the labor, to do to be the lumpant. Whether you are petty bourgeoisie, it doesn't matter. You are treated as the lumpant in this country. And I yield.
Definitely, great points. Interesting thing about this particular law, when it basically forces teachers to teach that slavery was beneficial to the enslaved. It was beneficial to the victims, even though it was not. But it doesn't force anybody to teach how slavery actually was beneficial, who actually benefited from slavery, because slavery, the enslavement of our ancestors, is the reason why this country became rich and wealthy and powerful and the superpower that it is today. It's interesting that, that's not put on the docket. That's not what we're trying to force people to learn, because when you learn that, then you actually, see how, okay, you actually do owe these people who made your country great. Since you're trying to make it great again, we was the reason it was great in the first place. It just wasn't great for us. It was great for them people who got their ass whooped by them black folks down in Montgomery. But definitely, I'm going to go to some of the comments. We got people chiming in. Good to see our audience back with us. Ain't missed a beat. Melly Queen, how you doing, Queen? It is so sad that our people are conditioned to the point that they think that this sick, evil BS is okay, and that we have no control over what we can do. And that is the manifestation of living under a system in which the individuals who benefit from your exploitation control your education. It's a story. If the predator tells the story, then the prey is always going to be evil. The prey is always going to be the prey fault. It's your fault that you got ate up. You're doing wrong. You shouldn't have been, looking so delicious, I guess. I don't know. But definitely believe you. Who is that? Bakari? Well, how to pronounce that name? Joe Bach.
It's Bakari or Baka, one or the other.
Bakari, okay. Said facts, family. Definitely. Thank you, Bakari. Meta Queen also. Man, so disheartening, but we can change it. We have to keep working, and we definitely do have to keep working. It's imperative. And that's what it's really all about. It's about us putting in this work so we can create and establish something that we can control, and we won't even have to worry about this. It's something we can laugh about. You know what I'm saying? It is actually laughable if it wasn't for the fact that it's actually affecting our people. The fact that someone could actually say, oh, there was a benefit of slavery for the enslaved people. Like, for real, like that's like a joke, right? But it ain't funny, because they're actually teaching our children that and this educational system has been very successful in indoctrinating and programming our people, and which really leads to a lot of the negative things that we like to complain about. Melly Queen also. Free the land, comrade. Thank you for joining the New African Broadcast Association. Definitely. Let me see. Free the land, comrades. How y'all doing? Who's that? So let's say hi. We are so in. I guess that's supposed to be love. She is so spoiled. Laugh, oh laugh. Pookie baby. All right. Let's see. All the more reason for homeschooling, weekend schools, African-centered schools. And that's kind of the whole point. That's the whole point. You hit it on the head. That's what we're trying to do. That's why we're in a New African Independence Movement. That's why the Republic of New Africa exists. So we can stop worrying about the silly stuff that they do in order to try to maintain control and power, and we can take control of our own destiny, of our own lives. So I'm with you, brother.
I want to be said work. That the work is the medicine. Okay. There will not be now perfect time. Okay. We are in an emergency state right now. Is the perfect time for whatever aspect of society that you want to put your time and energy. Now is the time. Okay. Now is the time. I promise you, just jump. The doors will open. Emergency state. We gotta move like, It's our responsibility. It ain't nobody else's responsibility. So we got to jump. Got to get over whatever's in our heads and our heart and keep it moving. Like, seriously.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree that because, you have to stand on who you think you are. You can't be in two systems at once. You have to navigate as much as you can the way you can.
It look like Mama Ayo is kind of having some technical difficulties, but we back. Hopefully, when we come back from break, we'll have everything situated because we have a cadre corner of blood in my eyes from our brother, our comrade, our ancestor, Mr. George Jackson, because this is Black August right here on the New African Perspective. We'll be right back. Free the land, family, free the land.
Be real. I fight for land, independence, and for reparations. We gotta do for self-determination.
Being independent is a very, very good thing because it means that you don't have to be dependent, especially on people who don't like you. I mean, growing your own food, like teaching your own babies our real history, the real truth.
As a people, we are not grown unless we have independence. We are not grown as long as we living under another man's system, operating in his way of things, his laws, and his ordinances that support his rule, actually. So to me, it's not the importance of self-determination and independence. It is mandatory.
Or we could make a change, get off our ass, do something else. Go get some land together, grow our food and do for self. Create our own stores, our own banks, start building wealth. Break them generational curses and start healing self. See with my last America, full of promises. Time to cash them in, you run from it quick. You never keep your word, I learned from it quick.
Study the writings, speeches, documents of our freedom fighters in order to free our neo-colonialized minds. This is the Cadre Corner.
All right, our Cadre Corner is George Jackson.
Absolutely.
Blood in my eye. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Mama Ayo.
Well, I just want people to actually try to purchase this book. It is a very, very comprehensive look at an internal, what we call internal development of a comrade that gained his political independence, while he was incarcerated, by reading the different books, reading the different theories, reading everything he could get his hands on, and synthesizing, really becoming a historical dialectician, to kind of talk about what was going on in this country, what was going on inside of him, why we should be what we call evolving to our higher selves and understanding who and what we are. George Jackson, one of the Soledad brothers, incarcerated at a very early age, around 17, spent about 11 or so years in prison and ended up, of course, being assassinated by his political views. Yet, knowing George Jackson as someone who sparked a whole movement even until today, with his superior reasoning, his superior ability to work and what we call analyze what's going on. I just want to share with you a few quotes. One of them, of course, coming from our Blood in Our Eye, when he talks about the different levels of struggle in this country. And remember, the book was written in, I believe, the early 70s, around 71. Blood in My Eyes. Still, you read that and you say, we're still talking about the same issues. We're still talking about the same problems, except they have been magnified through the use of technology, YouTube, et cetera, socially being manipulated. So the first quote, settle your quarrels. come together, understand the reality of our situation, understand the fascism. That fascism is already here. Remember, we're talking about the 70s. So, what more 2023, 2022 going forward? Fascism is already here, and that people are already dying, and they've been dying a long time. We just came through the pandemic, y'all. We came through much. Um, People who are already dying who could be saved, who could have been saved, okay? That generations more will live poor, butchered half lives. That really resonated with me because we're talking so many years after this was written that the people, our generations will come after us. And even though there's the illusion of progress, we are all here living poor, butchered lives. And if you fail, he's talking about all of us who claim to be in the know, woke, etc., etc. If you fail to act, if you if you fail to act, do what must be done. Discover your humanity. He's asking us to discover our humanity and our love in revolution. And when you look at some of the things that he writes, he has a different title, and he has different chapters within the book. He talks about, what are the steps of towards a united front, which we've been calling for a very, very long time in the New African Independence Movement. Just sharing his thoughts and his analysis of a situation, a political situation, a situation that the Republic of New Africa, along with our friends and supporters of the New African Independence Movement for a very, very long time. We've been working and striving and struggling, and many our brothers are still going to jail to be incarcerated. Well, George Jackson sparked that particular movement in which the universities, to become revolutionary minded, to show, do you have a nationalistic love and a revolutionary potential? These settings behind the walls was sparked by people like Comrade George Jackson, his brother, and so many others that literally lived their entire life in service of our people. So please get a copy. Please pick up a copy of Blood in My Eye, Conversations, with Chairman George Jackson, our comrade brother. August 7th is a very unique date. So we want everybody to just, pick up, skim through his books, read some of his quotations, go into other places and look him up. Young man, as many of our brothers, husbands, uncles, nephews are young men incarcerated. And because of that love for people, love to say, we got to get ourselves together, and this is the way to do it. This is what it requires to lift up to that level, to be an independent minded new African. These are the steps, and a lot of people didn't like it. He was, of course, murdered, especially after his brother tried to break him out of jail, and loss of life. They come back even more vicious because how dare you? How dare you kill one of ours when our people, Black people, New African people, can be killed by the millions? You better not touch one. So his life was a testament of what could happen, of what should happen as we transform our lives. So I want to leave you, comrades, with this quote. I repeat, realistic day-to-day needs, like real time, what we call real time, we in real time, day-to-day needs should be the basis of organizing people and making them conscious of revolution, which is just change from within to show without. That the world, the universe must revolve, that it will stop, stagnate, and die for no man's privilege. Blood in My Eye. George Jackson, comrade. I yield. I can't hear you, Brother Prophecy.
Sorry about that. That was Blood in My Eyes by Comrade George Jackson. Where can we pick this book up?
Definitely, you can order it, thrift books, Amazon, if they have it, because sometimes they don't have a lot of copies. You can even go on to, if you Google this, you may find a PDF copy. Yes, it's about 70 pages, something like that. And I think it for me, any book that we mention should be a part of anyone's library. Because books are becoming, a commodity. I personally, I don't mind downloading, but I definitely want my hard copies.
Dig that. But yeah, that's George Jackson. Now, this individual, this brother, this comrade, George Jackson, really inspired a movement that we celebrate today. Something called Black August. We celebrate the whole month of August, the spirit of resistance. Our struggle was a whole lot of things, but it was actually started as a memorial for this brother, him and his brother, Jonathan Jackson, who were both assassinated in August in an attempt to liberate George Jackson. It started in the prison systems, but eventually it grew outside of the prison system. And now we utilize it as a time to reflect, to strategize, to study, to fast, to make a recommitment to our struggle, to the resistance movement, and really to praise all of our resistant freedom fighters and moments in history where we really stood up to this system of oppression, and to remind ourselves that this struggle is not over. We're just a part of a continual, a protracted struggle that started over 400 years ago when the first African who was trying to be enslaved said, "Hell no, I ain't going," and they fought back. And this is just a part of that movement. It's called Black August. So what do y'all think about Black August? Is that something we should be celebrating, acknowledging, or is it just another month?
Well, me personally, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, me personally, I look at what you were saying. It's time to realign, all right, or to initiatives. It's a good time to initiate some initiatives that you and your collective, that you and your cadre have been thinking about doing. This is a good time to go ahead and initiate that. Develop optimal habits, right? Because one of the major things that we have issues that we have is that that initiating the work, right? Because it takes being extremely disciplined to change behavior. That's all we're talking about, is changing our behavior. So this is a good time to really zero in and focus on changing our behavior in some manner or fashion that's more in alignment with our liberation, our new African independence movement, liberating ourselves, right? So it's a good time to work on self so that can be actualized. You know what I'm saying? To develop new habits, to fast, to refocus. It's a good time to initiate certain things, within the community, within yourself, so that we can get closer to our end goal.
Definitely. Mama Aya, you still on mute. You got to unmute yourself.
I was saying, of course, I was agreeing and just adding to not only that personal work, but to understand that since we are, as new Africans, caretakers of the earth, we are linked. We always consider ourselves to be nationalists, Pan-African, freedom fighters, meaning that we are fighting for everyone's humanity, that you be free from oppression, but particularly from a system that does not seek to do you any good, which is capitalism, imperialism, white supremacy, and racism. So we ask that you tie into the worldwide spirit of resistance. And when we say it, we are a little bit isolated here over in America. You got to dig deep to find out the real stories of what's going on. But we do know that, of course, Jamaica, of course, because I go there a lot, since my mate is there. You know, August 1st, Emancipation Day, August 5th or 6th was what they call their Independence Day in Jamaica. Marcus Mosiah Garvey is, all up in August. So we have legacies that we need to be reminded and to ask ourselves, did emancipation and independence make us truly free? As Marcus Mosiah Garvey says, at home and abroad. Have we really come together to build I'm still going back to the aims of the revolution. The aims of the revolution that are fast forwarding, going on 55, going on 56 years. Are we poised in 2023, utilizing the strength of what we call the George Jackson, the spirit of resistance? Are we poised? Are we ready? Are we determined to build a Black independent nation? Are we poised to make that step so that our children and our children's children will write our name in the history books and say, yes, they were passed the baton and they forwarded the struggle? So yes, Black August is very, very significant. There's a lot of stuff that has gone on, even in the Republic of New Africa on August 18th, celebrating the RNA 11. So it's filled with the spirit of George, Garvey, RNA. I mean, the spirit of resistance is an everyday we can call an example. So yes, this is a particularly strong month. Not that any of them aren't strong months, but this one is extra strong, as they say, extra strong. And with that, I yield.
Definitely. Have to agree 1,000% with all of the perspectives shared. I mean, I think anytime we have an opportunity to educate our people and progress our struggle, we should do it. We should always do it. That's why a lot of people, they have issues with Juneteenth. I'm like, oh, no, I get the issues that you have with it, but still we have to take advantage of this opportunity to educate our people. Well, Black August, this is the prime opportunity, and I appreciate everybody out there who's sharing posts, who's putting on events and in an attempt to make this bigger and bigger and bigger, because it speaks to the heart of what we have to do, because we have to fight this system. We have to struggle against this system. We have to resist the oppression of this system, because as we talked about how the educational system, which is controlled by our enemies, are doing everything in their power to use education as a weapon against us, and is a very effective weapon. We're fighting against that. And a lot of us have been indoctrinated to believe that, oh, everything is okay. We're all right. I can get a good job. I can do this. And you know what I'm saying? And without, that's why I love people like George Jackson, who can really analyze the system and break it down and show you what the beast actually is, what it looks like. How this very system, creates poverty, creates crime, disease, it creates exploitation. And we have to resist that at all costs. The thing is we have to make sure, we have to fight the urge to be comfortable under the system of white supremacy, because that's what happens to a lot of us. Okay, you know what? I can get a job. I can pay my bills. I can do this. Occasionally, dude got shot by the police, something jacked up happened, stuff like that. Yeah, it'll pass, and now I'm back to my regular life, and we can get comfortable with this, and then, periodically something big happens, and we're all frustrated, and we're mad, and we're pissed, and all that, but it only lasts for so long, because we got to go back to deal with this system. So Black August is one of those extra things to remind us why we are doing this, what we are doing.
Why is this so important? Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a better world. A better world that is in grass. It's in within our grasp. We can do it. You know what I'm saying? We can get there. We will get there. You know, ultimately, it will be our grandchildren or our great-great-grandchildren. But Black August is one of those things that we got to continue to push, and we got to continue to promote, and we got to continue to educate people on, because through our cultural events and holidays, these are the things that easily teach us what we're supposed to be doing. They inform us on what we're supposed to be doing. That's why the white power structure is so particular about what type of music we produce. You know, if we could talk about killing each other all day, Ray will give you $1 million in an award. But let's criticize some Jewish people for exploiting our people. Hell no, because they understand the power of your culture informs you on what to do. If we start criticizing Jewish people, then that makes Jewish people threatened, because that teaches people who their enemy is. You know, we start talking about the police. Oh, that's a problem. You know, we start talking about this system. That's a problem. But you can talk about killing yourself all day, because that's a part, you know, they don't mind. That's okay for the system. Black people killing each other is okay for the system, you know, because Black people are a potential threat anyway. So if you just kill each other, then that's cool. You can kill each other, or you can assimilate 100% and be a part of this system. So either way, you're not a threat. So Black August is one of the countermeasures to this indoctrination of this miseducation system. And we got to use it to the fullest. Got a lot of comments.
Okay. I was about to say really, really quickly, you know, when you mentioned the struggle, you know, folks been in the struggle for a long period of time, and, you know, sometimes opt to, you know, do other things or fall back or this, that, the other. But I really want to talk about that struggle and what that struggle is. The struggle is not necessarily the struggle is relationships. Let's be real about it. Okay. The struggle is relationships, relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people. Because, and we say this a lot, we'll let certain things that don't really matter cloud division. You understand what I'm saying? Keep us from catapulting forward. Like, these are some of the things that's why my mama Aya will always refer to doing that self-work, because you literally on this journey have to constantly be doing a self-check, because you have to be in alignment. You personally have to be in alignment with liberation. That means we are constantly consciously making decisions to change certain things about ourselves that are not in alignment with liberation. And that's a real thing. Well, some of the main reasons why certain things do not happen is because our poor conflict resolution skills, right? We have poor communication skills. We don't tend to listen, you know, because a lot of us don't necessarily have high self-esteem. Let's be real about it. You understand what I'm saying? It's difficult to love your brother and sister if you do not genuinely love you, accept you as a creation here on the planet that is to be utilized to save the planet. You understand what I'm saying? Is if we collectively do not feel like we deserve this, it's not going to happen. I deserve this. That's why I'm show up every day, because we deserve it. Deserve it. This is our birthright. Liberation is our birthright. Abundance is our birthright. This is not something that we have to ask anybody for. You understand what I'm saying? So we gotta stand on knowing thyself, knowing that we are worth it, and being and align ourselves with liberation. Not being a slave, but being a free person. It's important, because we make decisions based upon where we really are, where our hearts and our minds are. So, you know, and I'm always going to emphasize that. We're always going to emphasize that, because that is the struggle. It's an internal struggle. Because this is not this is not the path of the weak-hearted. You cannot be weak. You got to stand really, really. You got to stand on your principles at all time, because that's how you win. That does not mean that you're not going to have major things coming at you internally, externally. Folks that's supposed to be in alignment with what you in alignment with are going to team up against you. Okay? That's what these struggles, when the elders say struggle, it's internal struggle. So if we are not in alignment with knowing thyself, healing thyself, loving thyself, it's not going to happen. You know, we have to make these conscious decisions. We have to make these conscious decisions to move optimally. And there's joy in that. It may seem strange, it may seem uncomfortable initially, but yet you make the habit of it, and you see the benefit of it, and you see how the ways and means in which ways are open for you, because you stand on your square, circle, and triangle by all means necessary. You know, it's conviction, 100% conviction. That's what it takes. You know, and moving affirmatively, very sure. One of the sicknesses of the samurai that one of my elder teachers taught me, some of the fear, doubt, uncertainty. You got to be certain. We have to be collectively certain. I yield back.
Definitely. I'm going to go to some comments really quick. First of all, see my cuz Derek Campbell, you out there? How you doing? Say you proud of us. We're proud of you too, cuz. Thank you for joining us, man. Appreciate that, cuz. Freedom Power. Salute to Jonathan, the man child Jackson. Definitely Jonathan Jackson, the younger brother of George Jackson, who was murdered in the liberation attempt of the older brother. And another inspiration for Black August. The new Black Panther Party, new Fort Virginia chapter. Black Power to you, comrade. Thank you for joining us. Bo Money, how you doing, Minister of Information? Good to hear from you, brother. By any means necessary, strong. Definitely, Bo Money. And if y'all haven't had the opportunity to check out Bo Money's shows, he has George Jackson University Radio. Make sure y'all check that out. It's matter of fact, he just posted it right there. I'm guessing that's it. Yeah. Queen T. Jones, he says, get the book Blood in My Eye by, you said Jonathan Jackson right there. You later on corrected and said George Jackson. So definitely get that book. Very Bo Money again. New African owned bookstores all have it. So we can pick up those that book in all New African bookstores. Let me see. Melly Queen, we should be acknowledging and celebrating all of our fallen comrades and pay tribute to them by doing some real work and follow in the steps of true revolutionary warriors. We have to get right about what we are doing and stop wasting our time, and we must get our youth in the game or it will be over after us. Definitely. Those words are extremely true. Real talk, because we gotta. That's something we really gotta focus on are the young people. And that's why I was so happy about Nation Day, because I met a lot of young people there who were really excited about this. And then Bob Lucala actually had like an improv session where we had some elders, and I was one of the elders, so I guess I'm an elder now. I don't know how I feel about that, but we talked to the young people, and they were excited. They were like asking, like, hey, what can we do? And we was giving it up to them. So yeah, you're definitely correct about that. And the Freedom Power, I see you dropped a link. I'm not sure what that link goes to, but follow it. I'm pretty sure is something that is very beneficial, knowing Freedom Power. Freedom Power. So real talk, President Salma internal struggle for personal and outward relationships. Align ourselves with liberation. Black August is critical to all of that. Fast, train, study, resist. Well said, well said, well said. And in the theme of Black August, coming up after the break, we're gonna be talking about in our Black Power file a guy who we already been talking about, and that's none other than George Jackson. When we come back right after this is the New African Perspectives. Free the land.
America, full of promises. Time to cash them in. You run from it quick. You never keep your word. I learned from it quick. You keep abusing me. You dumb. Europeans murdered 98% of the indigenous population right here in Turtle Island in order to steal the land. An entire nation of African people were captured and forced into a brutal system of chattel slavery just so they could work and cultivate the land. All wars are fought over land. Not over terrorism, not over religion, not even to win the hearts and minds of the people, but for the actual land and the resources within the land. So it is safe to say that land is the foundation to all freedom. So if we truly want to be free, then our struggle is for land. Free the land. Leaders, scholars, freedom fighters, all those soldiers who've been struggling for the liberation of Black people. This is the Black Power File.
The letters to my family, my mother, my father, sisters, my brother, they were intended to familiarize them with the situation I was faced with here. Of course, here in prison, we see the repression, the exploitation, the victimization of lower class. I went to school program, but now on the side, I was studying things that I felt that would help the community.
Was the incident for which you're charged now, was it a revolutionary act on your part?
You're asking me to confess to something?
Unless you wanted to. Did you kill the man?
Look, one of the most important elements of guerrilla warfare is to maintain secrecy. I've killed nobody until, it's been proven. And they'll never be able to prove anything like that. I think racism is a control device, control mechanism, create an atmosphere whereby they can control the inmates. And Black is just a continuation.
And those were some of the wise words of our great comrade, freedom fighter, now ancestor, George Jackson. And it's fitting that, we kind of talk about him because it is Black August. This was a brother who was in prison, and a light prison term, just went from a couple of years to him basically never getting out, to the point where he had to try to liberate himself. And he was ultimately assassinated in that attempt. But we really admired Comrade George, Chairman George, because he is a fine example of an individual who was incarcerated, who once had a criminalistic mentality and was able to transform that mentality to a new African revolutionary mentality, just like Malcolm and so many others. And he inspired a whole lot of people, not only in the prison system, but outside and beyond the walls.
he was able to transform, beyond the walls. And he was the co-founder of the Black Liberation. I mean, not Black, the Black Guerrilla Family. He was a writer, dialectician, intellectual strategist. So what do y'all think about our freedom fighter, comrade George Jackson?
He is a product of. Can you hear me?
You're good.
Okay, good. I said, well, he's a product of what we are bearing witness to with the brothers behind the walls. That many of them have come into their knowledge by entering as so-called criminals of this system, of this justice system, and beginning to study, work, and train, and changing their allegiance, changing their mentality, changing their very lives through this educational process that George went through, to become some of our greatest assets as far as the liberation movement is concerned. And also for him to be an example to those brothers and sisters who have gone and sacrificed their lives as political prisoners. So our hearts and our hats off to salute these comrade brothers, because many times our brothers will come into the prison behind the walls, and they're already New Black Panther Party. They are a part of the Republic of New Africa. They are supposedly awake and aware, and yet something has caught them and incarcerated them. And at that time, when they become political prisoners, their example in my mind to continue the work, to continue the study, to continue the training, and to pass down the information. And many times we're finding that this happens on one level and doesn't happen on another. So George Jackson is a true example of, as you said, Brother Prophecy, a criminal for a criminal act, transforming to what we call that revolutionary mentality, and the ultimate sacrifice being their lives. So it's a very hard issue to deal with now, because there is a conversation. Is every incarcerated New African to be considered a political prisoner? Is every New African that has been convicted, depending on what act that they did they aggress? Is it drugs? Is it murder? Is it theft? Is it strike three? I mean, every situation is unique in itself. And yet we know that the minute they claim or they consciously declare their citizenship with the Republic of New Africa, it becomes a whole new paradigm for them. The incarceration, the solitary confinement, the targeting, it becomes an issue. So all of that, I think, is a reflection of what happened to George once he began to talk about and to openly declare who and what he believed in, as far as independence and self-determination and the right to define, our lives as African people from a communistic point of view. Is the same reflection of what happens today, except it's even more insidious now. And with that, I yield.
Right. To add, one of the things that I always take from Comrade George is just the importance of organization. The importance of organizing, the ways and means in which the Black Guerrilla Family was organized with other organizations within the prison system to accomplish end goals collectively. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the main thing that is necessary for us today. Like, one of our first phases in rebuilding our nation is unit work, study, and training, because those elements have to be present. They always have to be present if we want to see transformation, and if we want certain implemented, and if we ever want to learn the power of the collective, you know. So that's one of the things that I always take from this brother is just the organization on those level: work, study, and training, and knowing exactly what the end goal, being well equipped to execute, being well equipped. So um yeah, we got some we got some powerful comrades to learn from, you
Yeah.
know. We got some powerful learn from. Like we really don't have any excuse. Like our ancestors and our elders have literally showed us the way. They've either showed us what to do or what not to do, and we just got to take heed and pay close attention. You know what I mean? Because it's about the end goal. It's not about us personally. You know what I mean? So I yield back. Just the level of organization and discipline that's necessary. This brother exuded that, and
Definitely organization. He definitely was a great organizer, and definitely laid down an example of a real revolutionary, real freedom fighter that we can, pick up and learn lessons from and bring them into our the modern day struggle today. I want to go to a few comments before we get out of here. Melly Queen. Yep, it's that time again. I guess we're going to start early. Save the date. We will be celebrating Nations Day in John Henry Clark District. That is Columbus, Georgia, March 29th, 30th, and 31st, 2024. Let's get connected and do this work to build our new African nation. Free the land. So we're going to be going down there to the hometown of Bomani and Brother Ajawa. Yeah, Ajawa. Yeah, and was it the PPL? And so yeah, I'm looking forward to kicking it with those brothers and sisters down there. They do some great things. They do some great work. So yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Save the date. Joe Gonzalez, how you doing? Good to see you, brother
All right,
Joe.
comrades.
Yeah, greetings, revolutionary comrades. Free the land, free the land, free the land. Definitely. He also says he's doing well and sending revolutionary love to y'all. Definitely. So yeah, we've been talking about Black August, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a theme that we will continue to talk about all through August because so many wonderful things happen in the month of August. So many things we can draw inspirations from and things we can learn from. So y'all got anything y'all want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
Stay vigilant.
Stay vigilant.
Stay in love with yourself and others. You know,
Yep.
that's one thing. We gotta. This is a movement of love. This is a love movement. You know what I mean? We do this because we love ourselves. We want the best for ourselves. You know, so stay vigilant, stay focused. We deserve the best.
Definitely. I guess I ended with a quote from our brother Freedom Power. Say, everybody remember to stay armed with your mental folding chairs. Have a strong Black August, everybody. Definitely. Y'all gonna be on tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, make sure y'all tune in 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with the foundation of the nation, because I know we're gonna have some great information, some great perspectives, some things that we really need to know about on that broadcast. But until next week, Brother Prophecy with the queens, with the goddesses, most powerful sisters that I know, Mama Ayodele, Madam President Sama Art. This is the New African Perspective, y'all. See y'all again next week. How am I gonna end this right here? I don't know, but
Free the land.
we love y'all. Free the land, free the land, free.
By any and all means necessary.
Yep.
Yes. In New Orleans, when the police told Marcus Garvey he couldn't speak to us and prevented him from coming to speak to us one night, we have because went in delegations and everything and raised such a ruckus that they had to let Marcus Garvey speak to us the next night. But when we went, I want you to hear me, when we went determined that nothing would stop Marcus Garvey from speaking to us. Now, how do you do that? How do you go determined to keep the powers that be from preventing your leader from speaking to you? How do you do that? Well, I'll tell you how we did it. Every one of us, including myself, went armed. We went armed. I had 2 guns on me. I had one in my bosom and one in my pocketbook. Little 30-inch special. Pearl handle. I'll never forget my little pearl handle gun. You think you're bad, huh? Some of you think you're bad. We went, brothers and sisters, do you think we went there with a round of ammunition? No, we went with handbags of ammunition. Everybody had handbags of ammunition.
We used to call them satchels.